Alright, got my brand new Nintendo Switch 2, and it looks like there's a game that welcomes you to the system. Let's see what all the hype's about. Well, this'll be fun. Hi, I'm Try, and today, I'm gonna go over what I played and paid for with the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour so you don't have to. I saw many of my fellow friends booting up Mario Kart World and jumping right into kart racing fun, but I said no. I'm not only gonna play the Welcome Tour to my new console, but I'm gonna beat it so I can provide a public service to those interested in what it has to offer. To start, you get a nice little boot up of all the different expo pieces that form the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and then you look through all the different people in line and pick your character. To touch a bit on the art style, I actually really like how this game looks. It reminds me of Roller Coaster Tycoon, except you play as the little people that enter your park. But the way you're just exploring this massive Switch 2 console and accessories is kinda nice looking. You have 12 total areas to explore from the letters A through L, and you have to do them in chronological order. There's no free roam where you get to pick a part of the Switch 2 you want to explore and go to that. You get really 4 different experiences to try out on these different parts. The first is stamps. This is your progression to get from gate to gate or accessory to accessory. The stamps are hidden, so you have to pay attention to key parts of the specific controller or accessory you're on, because some of these can be difficult to find. Obviously, all the buttons are going to be easy because they're the most obvious landmarks, but things like trigger buttons, or the large majority of parts on the ends of the screen, for example, like your headphone jack or the power button, these will be a bit more difficult to find. You can also rotate your isometric view of the game to 4 different sides to get a better view of some things you might be missing. The number of stamps you need to find will vary depending on how many points of interest the specific device or accessory has. The Switch 2 camera has 6 stamps to collect, and then the Joy-Con 2 in Area A has 18 to collect. After stamps, you have tech demos. Both tech demos and minigames, which we'll talk about later, require medals that can be earned by doing tech demos and minigames. So you want to do most of the ones that are available to you if you want to try them all. Tech demos are nice too because there's no winning or losing in them. You just experience what you want to experience and get your medal. Most of these tech demos show off features of the improved screen quality of the Switch 2, HD Rumble 2, or the Joy-Con 2's mouse mode. I mean, these are what differentiates the Switch 2 from Switch 1, so it makes sense. Here's my favorite tech demo that I did. What? No, that actually feels like a saw. No, yep, this is the best one. Low key feels uncomfortable to go slow. Ooh. Ooh, a large tree. Yep. Nope, that's the best one. That feels great. That's worth $10. The one I wasn't able to do was a Super Mario Bros. 4K tech demo, which requires you to have a 4K TV or monitor, and unfortunately, I was recording on my 1440p monitor, which does not get the job done. IGN released an article saying you couldn't 100% the game without this, and even if you can't 100% the game, there's actually an NPC that shows you a code to get medals from experiences you might not have access to. Some of these tech demos and minigames also need you to change form factor. For some, you'll be doing it in docked, for some it has to be in handheld mode. It's difficult because the handheld mode ones I can't obviously show you because it's not connected to my capture card, but keep in mind that you'll be undocking your Switch 2 throughout this game. Next, we have the minigames. And not all minigames are created equal. If you thought watching paint dry was boring, fortunately you don't have to do that, but you do have to scrape it off. Most of the minigames require the use of mouse mode, and some of them were not easy, especially if you wanted all the medals. One of my favorites that can be found in the Joy-Con 2 grip area is called Balloon Hunt, and is how you might play shooters on the console. Move with the left Joy-Con 2 and use mouse mode to aim with the right Joy-Con 2. Some of the minigames also have a second and third version that vary the gameplay a bit, and are usually more of a challenge than the previous iteration. Some definitely get in the addictive state of trying to reach the goal in a certain time and quickly restarting your attempt to finally get that perfect run. It looks like there are 20 different minigames that you'll be able to enjoy, excluding the harder variants. One game requires a Switch 2 Pro controller or a controller with GL/GR buttons, one requires a 4K TV or monitor, and one requires a camera. The section after and the final way to experience the game is Insights. Do you love school and learning and knowledge? Then you'll love Insights. Jokes aside, this is where you learn about a ton of the different parts and features that Switch 2 and its many accessories have to offer. Honestly, I learned quite a few fun facts going through Insights. Some of them include the fact that you don't need Nintendo's camera to have camera functionality. You can just plug in a USB camera. Nintendo's camera also includes a privacy shutter. The dock is rounded for easier access to the magnet release on the Joy-Con 2 controllers. And you even learned about the freaking stitching on the Joy-Con 2 wrist straps and why it matters. But in order to complete Insights, you don't just read the information. You have to take a quiz. Yeah, it sucks. I thought I was done with tests when I graduated, but nope. In order to mark them down, you also have to get a perfect score. There were many times that I read something, immediately forgot what I just read, and then I'd miss one question and have to redo it. Kind of bummed me out, not gonna lie. These questions aren't even particularly hard, but some of them have you memorize random information like the date in which Nintendo first introduced wireless communication, for example. You also have this fun lady, I think it's a lady, follow you around and tell you different things when you complete a certain amount of insights. I expected something big to happen once I did them all and just got confetti and a congratulatory text box. So, a little underwhelmed for having taken a Switch 2 based ACT test. I always have to give my little spiel on the design of things since I'm a designer, and I think this is crafted so well. I love the diagrams they have when explaining concepts and the insights, and especially how it's all laid out. Everything just feels so clean and polished. I don't have too much trouble navigating any of the menus, but I did have a small gripe. For some reason, you can fast travel to any stamp point, and I just don't think that's necessary. The game isn't that big. So what did I think of it? Who's this game for, and is it worth $10? Well, I really think it depends on who you are. Some of the parts of the game I really hated going through was the accessories I'll probably never get. So the camera was kind of annoying, and the stupid Joy-Con 2 wheel was really annoying. It happened towards the end of the game, and I was pretty clocked out by this point. My brain was low-key fried taking all these quizzes. You definitely get a hybrid with this game. It's part tech demo, part Switch 2 education, and part accessory advertising. I really think that by playing this, I appreciate the Switch 2 more and what it can do. Looking at Switch 1 and then at Switch 2, at a glance you really only think, huh, it's bigger. But the way a lot of these components and things are explained, especially when directly compared to Switch 1, it's pretty fascinating and definitely is a next-gen upgrade. Obviously, the coolest parts are learning about the Switch 2 itself, how much more powerful it is, and getting the inside baseball of why did Nintendo make the decisions it made with this console. I feel like more often than not, a lot of what Nintendo does manufacturing-wise is held pretty close to their chest, and we'll have to watch some other YouTuber explain why it's more powerful once they're able to dig in. But for the most part, it's all right here in Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, a way to not only show off all the new features and tricks, but gamify it in an interesting way. If you have any interest in the history of Nintendo hardware or hardware in general, then I genuinely think it's worth picking up. Now, is it worth $10? That's a tough sell unless you really care about how Nintendo made this thing. Most people pick up game systems to play games, not to learn about how the company made the system capable to play those games. It's especially difficult when you prop this up next to Wii Sports, which is a pack-in title with the Wii, and not only had tons of replayability, but incorporated Mii's and motion controls to kind of be the perfect tech demo disguised as a game. It doesn't even feel like a tech demo. Wii Sports is so well crafted, but Welcome Tour? Yeah, it wears tech demo on its sleeve. I think something like Switch 2 Welcome Tour would have also been more exciting if we didn't have the internet. You can find so many people talk about the inner workings of the Switch 2 in a much more digestible way, but if you want it gamified and from the horse's mouth, this is the way to go. This channel is going to be packed with Switch 2 content over the coming months, so if you want to see more videos or like the way I do things, consider subscribing. If you want to play some of the games that will be coming out with me, join the Discord where we'll be holding events. Huge thanks to my patrons who support me here on YouTube and on Patreon. You guys are helping me get one step closer to my dream of doing YouTube full time. Links to my Patreon, YouTube memberships, Twitch, and Discord server are all in the description down below. If you want to know what I think of the Switch 2's UI, click the video that pops up. Thanks for watching, I appreciate you being here, and as always,
thank you for all your support!